I'm Mixer Giant and I'm going to be upgrading the Cry for Justice storyline to fan to other forms of media. Because of it being one of Prometheus' most iconic storylines, and if you did do some changes to it, it would be good. And me need to explain a bunch of this stuff at first in order for it to make one piece of sense and later on in the video. You just need to combine it with the Justice storyline, of where it being the origin story for the Legion of Doom, but you can also make it that every supervillain team is a part of the Legion of Doom, and all of the supervillains in the DC universe working together on it. Like the Secret Society of Supervillains, that is a supervillain team created by Gorilla Grodd and Darkseid. It being different from the Legion of Doom because of it being a secret supervillain team. You can also just make it Darkseid creating the supervillain team in secret in order to fight against the Justice League, so him being able to take over the world in secret. It is one of the only supervillain teams that is as big a roster as the Legion of Doom. And the Injustice Gang was originally a supervillain team made out of incompetent members, but then the substitute members was more of a lethal threat to the Justice League. Some of the most iconic members being some of the arch nemesis of the Justice League. And the thing about the Injustice Gang is them having a one-to-one correlation with each of the members of Justice League, with each villain being an enemy from each Justice League member's road scoury. It is also good that the original Injustice Gang became the Justice League of Antarctica. And it would be nice you throwing in the Injustice League in there because they're already known as being similar to the Injustice Gang. So it would be good you showing how them being different from the Injustice Gang, they did form to become a superior team to stop the Crime Syndicate when they invade the main DC dimension, and them being different from other supervillain teams because of them actually having the power and talent to defeat the Justice League and to take over the world. And they were also part of the Light's evil plan as a decoy supervillain team for the Justice League so they wouldn't find out about the Light. So that would also come in handy and a good thing to know about them. And the Injustice Society is the supervillain team that fought against the Justice Society, the first superhero team. So if you find them in there, you would also be able to get the Justice Society's villains. It should be a good way to get all the supervillains in the DC universe there, and so the Injustice Society members would show up more in DC Comics. For you bringing all these guys together and putting all these supervillain teams together, you would need to follow the Legion of Doom's origin story in the comic book Justice, which is one of the most iconic storylines. Of where because of a nuclear war and the Justice League becoming too overconfident to stop it, the world are blowing up because of the nuclear war, so and a bunch of the supervillains having a dream about it, and them thinking it being a vision, so them coming together to try to defeat the Justice League, or at least just make sure they're not getting too overconfident so the world wouldn't blow up in a nuclear war, and so them being able to take over the world themselves. The Legion of Doom would be the main supervillain team, and all that is supervillain teams would just be a different part of the Legion of Doom, like how there being different Justice League teams that are different in parts of the Justice League. There being a part of it won by Karen Moth, of it being a protection racket, everyone's free to do their own supervillain things, but if the Justice League tries to stop you, you no longer have to fight against them alone. And then getting 25% of what they make from their lobbies in order to finance the Legion of Doom. Them also needing to do this to defeat the Justice League, so them being able to do whatever they want in the world. The Legion of Doom was the main villain in one of DC's biggest modern events, and it's lasting for a very long time. But after the Justice League broke the Source Wall, Lex Luthor took the totality from the Source Wall and created the Hall of Doom and the Legion of Doom, them taking control of the invisible spectrum and the Still Force. Lex Luthor made all of his savvy supervillain in the DC universe so they would become a part of the Legion of Doom, in order to free their god Perpetua. There was also a version of the Legion of Doom that was created by Vandal Savage out of the supervillains that have been trying and trying to kill the Justice League for years. And it was one of the most iconic versions of the Legion of Doom and one of the best DC animated movies too. And they were also the main characters of LEGO DC supervillains and had the most powerful villains in there, and it was based on the Forever Evil storyline there. So it is good them being adapted into so many other forms of media, and it is good them being the go-to supervillain team of the DC universe. Them also being the main villains in JLA Trapped in Time, and them even being created in another form of media, the Super Friends cartoon show. So that being another good thing about them, and it also being like how Harley Quinn was created in Batman the Animated Series before Harley Quinn was even created in Batman the Animated Series. Them even being the main characters of a Lego movie and the DC Superhero Girls movie, so people do know about them, so they would be perfect for a live-action movie. The Hall of Doom is the most iconic supervillain there, Lex Luthor becoming an apex predator with them. Also knowing them having a better chance to fight against the Justice League as a supervillain team because of it working so well for the Justice League, and them also knowing it being the only way so them being able to have peace of mind so they can defeat the Justice League, kill the Justice League and take over the world. The Legion of Doom is the most iconic supervillain team, and it's the Justice League supervillain team arch nemesis. Darkseid is the Justice League's arch nemesis, but if there's a supervillain team in the DC universe that's the arch nemesis of the Justice League, specifically it being Legion of Doom, it would be good you still are building up for Darkseid to be the main villain of the DC live-action movie universe. It's you just need to make it them only being the main villains for part of the DC live-action universe. So you only need to see the parts that you want from the DC live-action movie universe, and so you not need to see the whole thing like how the MCU is feeling at it at this time. If you just doing what the original Avengers movies did, but with the supervillain and forming a supervillain team to go up against the Justice League, but it turning out them working for Darkseid the whole time. Then you're just doing Darkseid as the main villain at the last Justice League movie in the end of the DC live-action movie universe. And they were also the main villain of the Justice League and Monsterverse crossover. So that really does say how good the Legion of Doom is since they started that crossover in the first place, and the best version of them is still from the DCAU Justice League Unlimited series. And the Crime Syndicate is an evil alternate universe version of the Justice League, from an alternate universe where the moral alignments of everyone on that earth are flip sides from our world, so every good guy is a bad guy and every bad guy is a good guy on that world. The Justice League's most iconic villains, and it would be good them getting in on this too. It would also be good you fleshing out the other members of the Crime Syndicate and the Justice Underground members, so you fleshing out more of that other universe. With you combining both versions of Deathstorm and you also keeping the Outsiders Alpha, and you making it that Ultra Girl is evil on that world like Supergirl is good on our world. With every supervillain in that world being a part of the Crime Syndicate and every superhero in that world being a part of the Justice Underground. With the way things work on that world being similar to Justice League Crisis on 2 Earths, but also being a combo of the New 52 Earth 3. With them giving superpowers to their most trusted operatives as their version of henchmen. While everyone else in that world had the same origin stories as from the main DC universe, just them becoming supervillains instead of superheroes. Their main enemy in that world is Alexander Luthor, who fights to protect the rights of that world's peoples. Frontier's version of it just being their origin story of how things got there at their universe. It also being a part of the Dark Multiverse is with the Antimatter Dimension. With him even being married to that world's version of Lois Lane. And we even had his son together, which was important in the Crisis on Infinite Earths event, but in the other DC Crisis events, him becoming a supervillain because on his world, Lex Luthor is a good guy. And then if you do them just doing them as that world's version of Shazam and as supervillain. You should keep Mazaz as a supervillain version of Captain Marvel from the Crime Syndicate well, but him just being a part of the main men from the Crime Syndicate from Superwoman's part of it, while the Lex Luthor verse 3 just being a good guy version of our Lex Luthor, with him just having an armored suit but him being a good guy who created the Justice Underground to fight against the Crime Syndicate. They're also showing where the Crime Syndicate got their secret headquarters from. But after the Crime Syndicate takes over the world, them getting the Justice League from the main DC dimension to help them defeat the Crime Syndicate, but them being able to defeat the Crime Syndicate on their own after that. And for the origin stories of the main Crime Syndicate, you would need to make a combo of their origin stories from all the other continuities and the Infinite Frontier origin story for how they all came together. With Ultraman's parents causing the death of Krypton and them being mad scientists, so that's why they sent their son to Earth to conquer it and to continue on their legacy. And his parents in the main DC universe has raised him out of fear and treated him horribly, which made him hate humanity and him killing them and him getting his powers. Then for Owlman, his parents treated him horribly and they were corrupt business people. His barber was a mad sergeant who killed people and took their money, and his mommy was a greedy businesswoman. But then Thomas Wayne Jr. and their parents would be shot and killed by the cop George Shell when them trying to rob something. So Owlman would grow up with an intense hatred of all who uphold the law. best mercenaries and assassins who would be the same guys who trained Batman from the main world but evil in this world. Become Owlman, him taking over the crime and him running it with the help of his friend Boss Gordon, but then in return, and him also making some of Boss Gordon's kids his partners. But then it would turn out that the Waynes got their family fortune from robbing other gangsters because they were gangsters, and that Boss Gordon was the one who ordered them to die. Because they killed his son because they tried to take over Gotham from him. So then not only did Owlman kill Joe Chill, who turned out to be a corrupt cop that was paid by Boss Gordon to kill the Waynes, because of Owlman still feeling bad that his own parents died. But him also killing Boss Gordon and him completely taking over the crime from Gotham City, which is how he took over Gotham City, and him still getting his weapons, some of them from the evil version of Lucius Fox in this world. It also turning out that it being a shot from Owlman when he was a kid that managed to kill Thomas Wayne Jr. fully because him trying to kill their parents because he thought that they weren't spending their money wisely, and him being a greedy businessman, and him also getting help from Alfred for it, but then Alfred was loyal to Owlman afterwards, and him becoming the outsider Alfred in this world. In this world, Owlman started the Court of Owls. In this world, Owlman and choosing an owl for the same reasons why Batman chose a bat in the main DC universe, but with an owl instead. And also, when he killed his brother, he thought the owl was hooting at him, and he thought it was saying, "Who are you?" And he said he was Owlman, so he became Owlman at that time. For Superwoman, you would make it that she's a combination of Lois Lane and Diana Prince. With Sam Lane being the person who came to Paradise Island and him raping Hippolyta, but then after her giving birth to Wonder Woman, because Hippolyta wouldn't come back with him to help him win the war that we have in the modern day, and also because he wouldn't let him take any of his soldiers back with him to help him win the war in the modern day, because of them being evil Amazons in this world, and because of them not wanting to help him to win the war. And Demon Island, and an island where the gods created the Amazons as evil people, Superwoman killed Sam Lane after her finding out about it and her also taking over the island. So Hermione would be proud of it, and Hermione was proud of it because it being good to be evil on their island. Then she would go into the rest of the world, and then her using the Amazons and Demon Island to take over the other parts of the world. Her Power Wing would make it that people who have an evil will who are chosen to become a Power Wing, and not people with goodwill like in the main Green Lantern universe. And with Power Wing having a tough guy personality, not him being scared of everything because it's not really good at first supervillain, and also Sinestro Corps already has the whole Power Wing of fear thing going on for them. It is really worse if they're the ones being scared of it. So it's much better it being an evil version of the Green Lantern's Will Wing. With the John Stewart Green Lantern's origins being the same, and with him being known as the Emerald Knight, with it being a parasitic ring like in the New 52, but also, and for the same reasons in the New 52, but there being lots of members of them, and it choosing people for the same reasons in DC The Infinite Frontier continuity. There also being a Power Wing version of Kyle Rayner from one of the Justice storylines, and there also being a Power Wing version of Guy Gardner for the Power Wing versions of the other Green Lanterns in their universe. With them still being sworn enemies of Star, who in this world would be called Octo, and with them and with Star being the guy and the Power Wings going against them because of them being supervillains. And the Hal Jordan Power Wing would be the main member of the Power Wings on the Crime Syndicate. And you're also making the Hal Jordan version of Power Wing an evil version of Hal Jordan, and him having a similar kind of personality to how Power Wing had in the Justice League Crisis on 2 Earths animated movie. For Johnny Quick, you need to go with the New 52 version of his costume, and with the Infinite Frontier version of his origin story, same thing with Atomica, his girlfriend. With the other Crime Syndicate members, you just make them look exactly how they did in Justice League Crisis on 2 Earths. With you also doing Alexander killing this world as Mazaz, so him getting his powers, and it also turning out that Superwoman was as Alexander Luthor's wife, Lois Lane. And because of Superwoman having in a relationship with Ultraman and Owlman 2, her being pregnant and with their child who has all of their powers and abilities from them, and all three of them still being in a relationship together afterwards because of him having all their abilities together after him being born. We did see Superboy meet up with this version of Superwoman and Ultraman. So this would be good as Earth-3's version of John Kent and Damian Wayne, with Damian Wayne just being born and afterwards without him getting any of their powers, but him being trained by Owlman to become his talent. And this would be an opposite relationship to how Batman has a relationship with his son Damian Wayne, and how Superman and Lois Lane have a relationship with their son John Kent on their world, but then still caring about them but in a supervillain way. And you also doing Earth-3's version of the Teen Titans as the Teen Tyrants, with you doing in this world the talents are part of Owlman's collective hours, with him taking them in for the same reasons, them just becoming supervillains instead, and with the other members of the Teen Tyrants being the partners as enhancement of the other Crime Syndicate members. The same Earth-3 version of them from the Teen Titans comic books, and also them going up against the Brotherhood of Justice. It would be good the Teen Titans having their own on Earth-3 counterparts because of us erasing so much of Earth-3, and because of the Justice League having so much to do with Earth-3, and because it would be good the Teen Titans and having them their own Gary too.
Johnny, I'm back. Stop vibrating. Stop! Oh, God. Did we save the world then?
We did.
And all that rubbish about me being faster than Flash. You knew this was gonna happen. Good one, mate.
I owe you an apology about this mission. You were right.
We were both right.
Still, more help around here wouldn't be a bad idea.
I'm glad you agree. I've been thinking about a membership drive.
Funny thing about wild cards, Joker. You never know which way they'll fall. You know I'll be back somehow to even the score, Batman. And you know I'll take you down every time. If you ever need anything, you know where to find me.
Bats, based on this little adventure, if you weren't the stalwart hero and I wasn't the homicidal maniac, we could have been friends.
Thanks to the Red Hood, I know that somewhere inside the Joker, there's a decent man.
But next time, Batman, I'll have the trump card. The Clown Prince of Crime will have the final laugh.
Or maybe not.
This would be good for a Justice League movie in the new DC live-action movie universe, after them fighting against Legion of Doom but before them fighting against Darkseid. It would show how good the Justice League has gotten over the years, but then it would also show them still going up against a big threat because it being themselves but evil. It would do a good job of building up towards Darkseid if you doing them fighting against so many supervillain teams but then them fighting one big powerful villain. It would also be good you doing the Crime Syndicate and the DC Superhero Girls if that show ever comes back. With Bumblebee's evil version and not afraid to stand up for herself, and with Jessica Cruz's powering and loving to fight and to kill people. That with Satana being abused by her father, so her growing up to become a supervillain and hating her Baba. And in that world, Superwoman keep trying to take over the Crime Syndicate from that world's Ultra Girl but keep failing at it. Which would make it for when they adapt the Brightest Day storyline in DC Superhero Girls, which would it'd help and would be good having each one of them getting a different colored lantern ring and from a different lantern cord because of the way they were portrayed in that show. In the LEGO DC Supervillains game, when the Crime Syndicate was sent back to their world, they did leave things open-ended with the Anti-Monitor, so it'd be good you doing a sequel to that. Which would also be a good way to get people interested in this live-action movie, especially now since they're doing the Crisis on Infinite Earths movie and the Anti-Monitor was the main villain there. If you ever doing another DC Superhero Girls video game, this would be a perfect plotline for it. Because in the last video game, it was them working together with their villains, and the plotline of the LEGO DC Supervillains game was based on the Forever Evil storyline, which is the same thing, so it'd be good them working together from the Forever Evil storyline to fight against the Crime Syndicate. Especially since in their animated movie, them fighting against the Legion of Doom, so that would be a good connection to it, and another good form of media for them to get out of it. Because of it being a good version of Legion of Doom and other forms of media, it would be a great way to bring back the DC Superhero Girls show. And the team from Young Justice, all of them are good. It's either you putting them into the comic books or you putting the other teams into Young Justice. So you having every superhero team there and you having all the good things about them. And you would be able to put the light into the comic books, and in Young Justice you can just make it the light does these other supervillain and teams to go up against the Justice League's other superhero teams. The light destroys the League and involves humanity by doing crime, so this would go perfect with them. Then you find the storyline of the Jail Who, where Hitman erases the Justice League's memories of being the Justice League, so now they don't know how to work together. So Batman would need to create the Justice League of Arkham to help him and protect Gotham from the supervillains from the other cities. Because they want to own Gotham, they don't want to see it destroyed. The Justice League would do other Justice League teams too because of it, but then they would remember about the Justice League because of them doing different Justice League teams of it. And being back together with the other heroes they got in order to fight against the other supervillain teams sent by Prometheus. And also need to stop Prometheus from getting his revenge on the Justice League. Prometheus' parents were criminals that were shot in front of him by cops, so he grew up with an intense hatred of all who uphold the law, so him wanting to get revenge on the Justice League because of them and standing in for the very thing he hated. He used the money his parents stored around the world in order for him to learn from the best assassins and mercenaries to get revenge on the Justice League when he found out about them, and he also found out from some wise men in an ancient temple that combined both magic and science. One of them being the key in Mr. Twister, how to open a portal to another dimension called the Ghost Zone. You encountered the place of a teenage metahuman who won the Justice League competition and to be a Justice Leaguer for a day for a good morale and to get the public on their side. It would turn out Prometheus was the one who hired Hitman to do that so the Justice League wouldn't stop his plan and because he would have a better shot at fighting against them with them being separated. And him also getting the other supervillain teams back together and against the Justice League after releasing them all from their prisons to attack their cities and kill them while they're separated to up his chances and just to make sure of it. To defeat them and while they were separated and unable to work together because of him not wanting to take any chances with it and him wanting to up his chances as of him defeating the Justice League as much as possible. After him revealing his Prometheus identity to the Justice League, him sending the Justice League cities into the Ghost Zone and also planting bombs in them, so if they try to remove them, they'll blow up. And him also faking being a Justice League member, so him being able to supercharge it's the key that lets him teleport things into the Ghost Zone by using the Justice League's teleporters that they have on the Watchtower that he couldn't do before because of there being so many Justice League members there and because of the high security there. Then you find the Cry for Justice storyline with them fighting against the supervillains and Prometheus. The Justice League would try to fight against Prometheus, but then it would turn out that Prometheus would have an electric metal stick he would use to fight against them. And he would also be able to shoot poison darts out of his wrist because of his suit. Also having a helmet that lets him use the skills of the people in the DC universe with the best fighting styles, defeating the Justice League all on his own. Not only with this so how big of a threat he is, and not only did he already do this in the comic books, which is one of the reasons why he's so good and why he's such a big fan of the Justice League, But it would also show how him being similar to Batman because of Batman's contingency plans against the Justice League. And it would also flip the plot lines of the other movies before it on its head, because them fighting against other supervillains working together and then defeating him, but this is one supervillain managed to defeat the whole Justice League on his own, because of how big a threat he is. Which would also show how important Batman is to the Justice League, and you're also showing how he's similar to Batman. But not in an anti-Batman way, because personally I'm not really seeing how him being an anti-Batman, and for that since he's a Justice League villain. But if you playing up him being in the Batman and the Justice League source guy because of Batman's contingency plans against the Justice League and then fighting against that as a supervillain, and then it being good, you being able to keep the anti-Batman for Prometheus, and him also staying a Justice League villain. That would even be his thing as a Justice League villain, and why him being such a big threat to the Justice League, and why him being such a good Justice League villain, while him still being able to keep the anti-Batman thing. But not in the same way as the Wrath or Owlman. Because of the Wrath being in the Reverse Flash and Bizarre and Batman source guy, and Owlman being a evil alternate version of Batman and from the crime syndicate. So him only fighting Batman with the rest of the Justice League because of him being a part of the evil version of the Justice League. So the Justice League already has their own version of Bizarro or Reverse Flash and their Oscari. So the Prometheus' way of being the anti-Batman is him being well planned out to defeat the Justice League, which is also so how important and awesome Batman is, not just at being the whole Justice League on his own, and just so him being a human, but him being a god among gods, but also it being good when Batman specifically needing to defeat Prometheus. Batman would defeat Prometheus by downloading his helmet for the mind of Stephen Hawking's, which would overload his helmet's processors, so Batman being able to defeat him because of Batman being able to defeat him by fighting smarter, not harder. Then Prometheus would convince the Justice League to let him go because of it being the only way to get the cities out of the dimension and to get rid of the bombs in their cities without blowing them up. Because of him being the only one who can use the key that opens the portal to the Ghost Zone, and him not using it unless they let him go. And then supercharging it like how he did with the Justice League's Watchtower with his teleporters. But after them using the Justice League's Watchtower's teleporters to try to get rid of the bombs and from one of the cities, it going off and it blowing up Star City. And Green Arrow's niece, Red Arrow's daughter, would die in it. And Prometheus would also rip Red Arrow's arm off. We would see them in the previous Teen Titans movie, so it having feeling and meaning here. And the Teen Titans and the other superheroes would be here to help them defeat the other supervillains around the world, and it also being how the Justice League gets some new members and being connected to the other movies by them showing up here. With the other superheroes to help the Justice League defeat the other villains, and with the other superheroes as the Justice League got as new members. The only reason why the Justice League would have said yes to Prometheus' deal was because them already having a plan to get him in the Ghost Zone where he escaped to. And the reason why Prometheus would be trying to destroy the Justice League cities would be destroying the things that Justice League cares most about, which is the cities they protect. And the friends and families being there, so he would be able to take advantage of him being the reason and why Relay and Harper died. Because of it being part of his plan and by accident. The Justice League's original plan was to just capture him, and he went back into the Ghost Zone, but after Green Arrow finding out that Leanne Harper, his niece, died, his partner's daughter, he killed Prometheus when he went back into the Ghost Zone. And it would be a secret that ultimately cost him his marriage with Black Canary, but then eventually forgiving him in the future movies, and then eventually making up for it. And they would eventually get married in this new DC live-action movie universe. Red Arrow would become Arsenal because of it, and he would get over Leanne's death in the Teen Titans movies. But then it would also turn out that Prometheus was working for it, and partially how he was able to do all this was because of Darkseid, which would help you building up towards Darkseid, and also him being the one big threat of the DC universe. And some of the members from the supervillain teams would be Kronos, because of him being the Atom's arch nemesis and because of him being a time travel villain. He's DC's go-to time travel villain. If you saw his costume on the big screen, not only would it work and it working perfectly, but it would be hilariously awesome. You can just go with the Justice League Action version of his costume to make it work on the big screen. Now we combine the version of him to fight against the Atom with the version of him and the gas powers from Year One, the Devil of the DC Universe, is with the version of him from Justice League Action, with the Justice League Unlimited version, with the Batman Brave and the Bold version, with the version of him that fight against Booster Gold. You could portray him as an old cowardly of Ray Palmer, the original Atom, and Ray works on streaking stuff, Kronos, which works on time travel stuff, but then he becomes more crazy over time and him becoming Kronos. With the DC New 52 version of him, with the DC Rebirth version of him that fought against the Justice League of America and was in the Year of the Villain Christmas special. With the Justice League Action version of him. With him having the same rivalry with the Atom and the original costume exactly the same from the original version of him. The same him being a part of the time series from the version of him that fought against Booster Gold. In the comic book origin story, him being the arch nemesis of the Atom and it being needing to be the Atom and to fight against him. And the same things he can do with his time travel things, and him just using things to use time travel. From Justice League Action, Batman the Brave and the Bold, Justice League Unlimited, and the comic book versions of him, and from the DC Rebirth version of him. And with him also used to being an agent of Argus, and him also fighting against the Justice League in America at one time from the original version of him, the DC New 52 and Rebirth version of him, and the version of him from the comic books. And his costume would look great on the big screen because it just being in good at costume working on the big screen in general, because James Gunn and in the Aquaman movies proved them being able to do it, and you can do a costume good in it, and it would be awesome to see his costume on the big screen. Because the Atom is not a cheap knockoff of Ant-Man, and the Atom came first. Ant-Man's only the original because of him being bad shape, but he's not even as able to shrink as small as the Atom, but he does go to giant size. So it would be good, and it would be good you proving it by having Kronos, the Atom's arch nemesis, fight against him in a live action movie. It doesn't need to be about the Atom specifically, it could just be him as a Justice League member fighting against Kronos as part of a supervillain team, along with the Manito Men fighting against Chemo as part of the Justice League against the supervillain team. With Kronos just wanting to kill the Atom afterwards, but Ray Palmer and still being sympathetic towards him. And you doing it because he always had an unhealthy obsession with time, and because as he used it, so him having a better relationship with his barber. But then his barber died before him being able to spend any time with him, so then he used it to spend time with his barber before he died, so then it became a problem afterwards because him not being able to stop messing with time because of it doing so many good things for him. With you keeping his original costume exactly the same, but him getting the other costume when he gets the time travel powers, and him being a mentor to the other Kronos because of him being his son and Lady Kronos being his wife. With the same it being a mask from his original appearance, and with the same him being granted, it fitting on his face so well, and the attention to detail of it being in the mask as him and the art style and how good he looks in the costume, and from the version of him that fought Booster Gold. The same Lady Kronos being his wife in Justice League Unlimited, with the same way his voice is in Justice League Action. You're also making it that his voice isn't whiny, and it just being good his voice being like that. With the same him being crazy and fun-loving from Justice League Action. With the same him having time bombs and him being able to time travel like in Justice League Action.
What's the matter, Kronos? Hard to see the future when it's still full of smoke.
I'll get you yet, Batman! You'll never be safe from me!
Of him being the Metal Man's arch nemesis. And also make it them dropping him on Paradise Island like a nuclear bomb instead of Bloodhaven from the comic book. Alan wants to do a storyline with Chemo because he's good with weird concepts like this, and because of Chemo not knowing what he is, but he desires to be human.
Three, two, one, and he's down for the count.
And you would also need Dr. Belair because you really should make him Green Lantern's Earth arch nemesis or Sinestro Stasis' galactic arch nemesis. He was one of the main villains in the Underworld Unleashed storyline. He was one of the other biggest villains in the DC universe. You can also make it him fight against the Jessica Cruz and some of the baddest villains in the Green Lantern on Earth, and him having a different relationship with them because of what they did to his brother. And now we combine all three of his last costumes into one, combined with the Batman the Brave and the Bold version of his costume. With him having a metal mask that's a combo from both Batman the Brave and the Bold and his most iconic costume, but with the holes and the magnet symbol of his head and from his New 52 Rebirth costume, with also the magnet symbol and the other armored parts out of his second costume, with there being a banana and magnet symbol from his original costume. He's not a cheap knockoff of Magneto because he came before Magneto. Stanley didn't rip DC off. Magneto's just the original one because of him being better. He was a part of the first Suicide Squad, and which would also make it good and him showing up here if there being other parts of the new DC live action movie universe. You should also keep him as an all-purpose DC villain where there being a big event with him as the main villain or one of the main villains. This could just be the thing to do it. And you should also have Dr. Destiny in there because of him being able to manipulate reality like a dream. And he's the only one who usually goes to Arkham because of how crazy he is. Other villains end up there too, but he's the only one who usually goes there because of how crazy he is. Thus, he is a more dark Justice League villain because they're more known for fighting colorful aliens, not disfigured psychopaths that can manipulate reality. You'd also get them right to fight against someone like Darkseid, and him actually could come back to help them fight against Darkseid. So he should be one of the Justice League's top villains, appearing every few years or so out in a big event. It is his destiny after all. He could also show up in Justice League Dark movie before this. His was a big threat them fighting against, and now him working together with others for villains to make him an even bigger threat. Dr. Destiny was already a supervillain to the Justice League before him getting disfigured, him just having a better reason for being a supervillain to the Justice League specifically after him being disfigured. And the dream thing came in late, and him being a good villain from the start, him just becoming a more original villain and later on. It is more believable someone like Dr. Destiny joining the Legion of Doom than someone like Darkseid. And because of him already joining the Legion of Doom and not for media, it would be good you doing him being more powerful than Darkseid, or at least just him being able to be a threat to Darkseid. Now we combine the way he looked in the Sandman with the way he usually looks, with him being a watching quartz for skeleton, and with the usual costume he wears with the blue hood, and his Mondray Opticon crystal. You also find some things from the DCU version of him, and where he likes being disfigured because of him just not wanting to be a nobody. But with the original reason why he hates the Justice League from the comic books, it's because of them getting a therapist to hypnotize him into not being able to dream to try to get rid of his powers, but it just made him even more crazy because since he was unable to sleep, him lying away, and because of his metahuman powers, it's him becoming a skeleton because of it. And it also turning his powers into him being able to manipulate reality as a dream, and also as a side effect, them not being able to undo the hypnotizing thing no matter what. It mainly being because of the Justice League, like him being unable to dream. So it started out him just upgrading his Mondray Opticon, and which he did himself to do whatever he dreamed into life, but then it becoming just him being able to manipulate reality like a nightmare. At first it would look like him being a metahuman, but then it would turn out him being a long lost future son of Zatanna and John Constantine. Him caring about his mommy and not wanting to hear her, but him also hating John Constantine because him being the reason why him being like this, and because of the way John Constantine is. Him wanting to leave Zatanna out of him killing the Justice League at first, but then in the end it being because of Zatanna why them being able to defeat him. And it's because he looks like Skeletor. He did get this look before Skeletor, and Skeletor is just the original because he's better. So you can just make it him singing He-Man and Masters of the Universe when he was a kid, and him just being inspired by Skeletor to dress up like that. Him also being what else is he going to wear at that point because of him being a white quartz at that point. And also it would make it good him being for a He-Man and a Masters of the Universe crossover with DC. They did do it within Justice Universe, so it is possible they would do it again in the main DC Universe. And if anything, you having a Hood and you having a Skullface villain and is one of the most iconic looks in comic books, and it actually being good in original, him having both a hood and a skull face is for his look specifically in comic books. Use He-Man, you could just make it a spoof of He-Man, combined with the Thundercat adds Captain Planet and the Planeteers and G.I. Joe at that. So it being a good original spoof of the most iconic shows from the original 80s and 90s shows in general. And I do also like it being a cloak out costume and it just being a plain supervillain costume, because him being a supervillain, it getting the job done, it going well with what he thinks of a supervillain. Plus not every supervillain needs to be sympathetic, you know. Sometimes it's good to just have a pure evil villain and you're so evil and deliciously evil and enjoys being evil that's actually entertaining. And he is also sympathetic because of him not being able to dream and him also having a good reason to hate the Justice League because of it. So he is both sympathetic and vicious and ruthless. And because of him being the main villain of a Justice League Dark storyline in DC Night Terrors, as in the Fastest event and a Justice League 2-part episode, and a comic book from Batman the Brave and the Bold, and of the Sandman show, and of the Arrowverse crossover event, and of the Justice League Dark animated movie, and of a Justice League storyline from before. He has everything you need of a good villain, and also it would be good you combine all his looks from there too. As in him looking the way he looks in the Destiny Hand storyline combined with the way he usually looks, combined with the Justice League Dark version of him, combined with how he looked in the Justice League Dark comic book storyline, combined with how he looked in the Justice League Unlimited episodes, and combined with how he looked in the Arrowverse. With you doing the costume exactly the same as how it was in Justice League Unlimited, and with it just being a plain supervillain costume, but with him having a plain skull face there too. Because Arrow being perfect just the way it is there in general, with him just having a good supervillain costume, and him having a skull face. Or every other time he's showing up, it being the same Martin Quest from the Justice League Dark storyline, the same version of him from the crossover storyline, and Martin Quest, the same origin story from the Justice League Dark animated movie, and still him being a Martin Quest. With on occasion there being a version of him that being a combo of all of them, the way he looks, and versions of him with the origin stories and him being a Martin Quest. You also have the Justice League Dark to fight against the other magical threats of the Justice League to build up to Dr. Destiny, like the Demon Tree and Felix Faust, also to show how good they are too.
No, wait, he's over there. No, there.
One more answer, and it better be the right one.
Or what? You'll kill me? Gosh, I might end up suffering eternal torment as punishment for my sins. Oh, wait, I already am. Abnegazar.
Tell me where to find Faust, Abnegazar.
In Hades' library.
Lead us there.
Okay. Now, could you please take this rope off of me? I'm a demon. The truth hurts.
Felix Faust is the most iconic magic Justice League villain, and he is also the most iconic supervillain sorcerer in the DC universe. So it shows how good he is, and it also showing that part of how good he is.
The armor. It's fueled by rage. If we don't fight you, you're powerless.
That was before I fixed it.
My mace disrupts magic. What's that tin suit run on again?
Who has time to read these days? Besides, I've got a new hobby. Tormenting Faust's pathetic soul.
You should also do Arnold Schwarzenegger there, because it is because of him why we have the Royal Flush Gang. And with the Royal Flush Gang, you can combine all the versions of them into one, with them originally being created by Arnold Schwarzenegger and working for Roulette. But with you combining both versions of them from the DCAU, with the Justice League June version of them, with the Fan Art version of them, with the Earth 27 version of them, with the original version of them that fight against the Justice League, with the comic book version of them, with the Batman the Brave and the Bold version of them, with the Arrowverse version of them, combined with the New 52 version of them, combined with the DC Rebirth version of them. With them being assassins, is it being in a whole organization and run by Roulette and Ominous Fortune, who sometimes gamble with each other and then betting on things all the time from each other. With them usually fighting against the Justice League, with them also being assassins. With it being a family business that's been going on for years since cowboy times. With them also having steampunk weapons, so you having something original in there. With it originally being started by the Joker, and them also having the meta-human origin from Justice League Unlimited. And with you combining all the designs and all the weapons and powers and skills of all the different versions of each of the Royal Flush Gang's members is into one, and for each Royal Flush Gang member. They are one of the most iconic bounty hunters in the DC Universe, and they're one of the most iconic and biggest threats to the Justice League in one of their villains. And you should put the Justice League Unlimited version of the Royal Flush Gang into the comic books as an alternate version of the Royal Flush Gang, along with the Earth 27 version of the Royal Flush Gang. And for the Batman Beyond version of the Royal Flush Gang, you should keep it as the Batman Beyond Royal Flush Gang fighting against him, and with the same continuity and them acting the same, and from that so in the Batman Beyond comic books, with you keeping his relationship with Ten the same. The second Royal Flush Gang in the DCU as the now Royal Flush Gang 2.
I haven't even started.
Hey, Joan of Arc! Wanna take me on?
Shouldn't have done that.
That was quite a stunt you just pulled off.
I know. Can't wait to catch the rerun.
Well, that would be the main person in charge of them. And her being in charge of all the illegal gambling and crimes. And her also being in charge of anything that involves rigging bets. And you'd also do her trying to get the superheroes to fight each other more, so her being able to make money off of it. She's in charge of an illegal underground superhero supervillain fighting ring, where they make money off of it by betting on it. And she does show a different part of crime with the Justice League villain, so it is good you doing her here to show the street level crime of it.
Didn't think I was that good, did you? Breaking news, I'm even better. Who's better? You!
Then leading up to the Darkseid movie, you doing the movies from the other superheroes crossing over the Justice League, like Eclipso in the Justice League Dark movie. And Eclipso was also the main villain of the Justice League vs. the Suicide Squad storyline, so you can also use this to have the Justice League fight against the Suicide Squad by having Eclipso as the main villain as in one of those movies. The Suicide Squad is also a really good supervillain team. So it would be good it being used more like a supervillain team with the other supervillain team. And Eclipso, is just the guy to do it by him being the main villain of a Suicide Squad vs. Justice League movie. Because of him being the big threat, the Suicide Squad and the Justice League need to work together to fight again. And now we combine the New 52 version of him with the DC Rebirth version of him with the version of him to fight against the Justice League Dark. With the version of him for the Justice League vs. Suicide Squad comic book event, with the Arrowverse version of him, and with the DCU version of him, with the original version of him, with the version of him that fight against the Spectre, with the Jean Loring version of him, with the DC Superhero Girls 2019 version of him, with the Dark Crisis version of him, and with the Gemworld version of him. Because of there being so many supervillain teams and so many different versions of the same supervillain teams, it would be good you putting them all together so you being able to keep all of them and so them being a bigger threat to the Justice League. With the same him being an underrated Justice League villain and from the original version of him, the same him being an enemy of the Justice League Dark with the version of him that fight against the Justice League Dark. With the same Maya Kings and Eclipse symbol from the New 52 version of him, with him also being from Gemworld from the New 52. And with him, the same him defeating the Spectre, him used to being a member of the Suicide Squad, and him fighting against the Justice League and the Suicide Squad, and in the same way him mind controlling people from the DC Rebirth version of him that fight against the Justice League and Suicide Squad. With the same him being the arch nemesis of the Justice League Dark from the version of him that fight against the Justice League Dark. With the most iconic way he looks, over it, him having the modern way he looks, and over that him having in his original costume, and then him having in his iconic Eclipse symbol and markings on him from Gemworld, over that, it just being Eclipso and him just being evil, and over that him having the costume he had when he fought against the Justice League Dark, having some black diamonds coming off of him, and with the Eclipse symbol on his face, but this time over his whole face, so it really showing it. And him having some black diamonds coming out of him, like on the claw of his hands and at the claws of his feet, and him also having some black diamonds coming out of him in general, like some black crystals around him, and with a giant black diamond coming out of his chest. But with it being on his chest, and it being obvious it being on his chest over the Eclipse symbol, with the Eclipse symbol being a full Eclipse symbol, so it being a more iconic symbol, it's showing how him just being evil Badger, and for it to be a more iconic Eclipse symbol. And it being Badger, it making the black diamond more iconic and says by accentuating it. With the Eclipse symbol also being a combination of all his other Eclipse symbols, and this also being the usual Eclipse symbol when him mind controlling people, just it taking up their whole face, so it's showing it just being him mind controlling them. And it being the same thing in the other black diamonds being there, but it being obvious as this being the main black diamond. The main black diamond is supposed to be different yet similar than the other black diamond. Able to mind control people by bringing out the worst part of them that they hide, and him bringing out the part that you hide in general, with them defeating him in the same way, and them still defeating him with sunlight in the same way. And them using sunlight to get rid of the Eclipse, and them using sunlight to defeat him in general, and them using sunlight to defeat him in the Suicide Squad vs. Justice League comic book, like with the Suicide Squad and Justice League fight and work together to fight against Eclipso, and them also working together to defeat Eclipso, and because of them working together as well, how them being able to defeat Eclipso. And the Jean Lauren version of Eclipso could be the love interest of the main Eclipso. It would also be good for them evening the odds against the Justice League, since the Justice League has so many superhero teams working together with them and has so many Justice League teams. So this should be the same thing but with the Legion of Doom, while also having everything good about those versions of them. It being the Legion of Doom in the comic books, because the Legion of Doom is the main supervillain team in the comic books, but in Young Justice it being the Light, because the Light being the one that caused all the other supervillain teams in Young Justice. And Mazo is a good villain for the Justice League, so it would be good him showing up in a live-action Justice League movie, and he would be the perfect guy to go up against the Justice League, because of him having the powers of the whole Justice League, because of their first encounter where he copied all their powers, and he does have a history with Red Tornado, so that would be good for a live-action movie too. It would be good there being a big threat against the Justice League, and Star would be good if they ever reboot the DC live-action movie universe for him being a Justice League villain. Him being the first Justice League villain for him fighting against the Justice League, and Despero does have super strength that can go up against Superman and Martian Manhunter, and is helped in his ambitions by a third psychic eye. So it would be good the Justice League fighting against him, and because of him being a big enough threat for the Justice League, and Brainiac is a Justice League villain, not a Superman villain, so he should be fighting against the Justice League in their own movie before Darkseid. It's him being the only one who's as big of a threat as Darkseid, but it's still being obvious Darkseid being the main villain. Then you ending it with them fighting against Darkseid in the last live-action Justice League movie, which would be the end of the new DC live-action movie universe. Darkseid is the biggest threat that the DC universe has ever faced, and is the arch nemesis of the Justice League. He is a Justice League villain, not a Superman villain. Superman can't even defeat him with the rest of the Justice League. How is he supposed to defeat him on his own? Darkseid wants the anti-life equation, which he thinks is the first step for him taking over the multiverse, because of it destroying free will, because of it proving that day-to-day usual life is even worse as an apocalyptic state of apocalypse. It being the opposite of the life equation from the New Gods, because as life minus free will equals anti-life. He got it from someone on Earth, and him creating machines like the Fear Machine, and that can create great fear in people. So it would be good him creating the Rage Machine, and to use on people too. Darkseid's creator Jack Kirby was inspired by Hitler and Nazi Germany when he created Darkseid and Apocalypse. It's because of Jack Kirby being a war hero at the time. Then Stan Lee and his partner Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko started doing comic books, which is a more life-loving thing to do. Darkseid is an alien conqueror, and he's the god of Apocalypse's home planet. It being called that because of it being a constant apocalypse there. Darkseid is an alien conqueror, and one time he managed to spread the anti-life it creates on Earth and made everyone an extension of his will. And the Earth became a post-apocalyptic wasteland that was worse than his home planet Apocalypse. It took a radion bullet fired by Batman, and a Superman sink at the exact note that Darkseid hated, and the Flash redirecting the Black Racer against Darkseid as the new god of death, to finally defeat Darkseid. It would be good because the Justice League fight against other godlike villains and then fighting against other supervillain teams needs to go up against them, but this is just one person who is a godlike villain and him being more powerful and evil than the other ones. Which should show why the Justice League was formed in the first place and why they're being a Justice League in the first place. Because there's no one hero who can solve everyone's problem, and even superheroes need to work together to stop a big threat. Darkseid has godlike strength and is helped out by the Omega effect. And I would combine both of his origin stories into one, so you having the most iconic parts of it and you also having the best parts of both worlds there. If you ever rebooting the DC live-action movie universe, you can still have Darkseid as the main villain, but since we've seen him being defeated so many times and they already saw him in a live-action movie, you can do him becoming even more powerful, and him being an even bigger threat when them needing to work together with the new gods to defeat Yuga Khan, Darkseid's barber, who is more powerful and is a bigger threat than Darkseid, by Orion killing Darkseid. So him being free from the rules of reality, and him also taking back the parts of himself from the other parts of the multiverse. Because of there only being one new gods in the whole multiverse, the other versions of them in the multiverse are just different parts of them. So after them defeating Yuga Khan and Darkseid, I would try to take over the world and destroy the new gods with him being even more powerful, so them needing to work together to stop him. This way you would get the goodness of Orion killing Darkseid because of Orion being the son of Darkseid, but because of him being raised by the new gods and becoming a good person, proving that nature trumps nature. But it also showing that a god can't destroy a god because of them already being a god, but if afterwards him being defeated by the Justice League, and it being in a more powerful form, with him being even more of a dark god, it proving that being human is better than being a god, because it being them choosing good is how they defeated him, and it also showing how good it is just to be human, because it was humans who defeated Darkseid, a dark god, not a new god. And you should also find the Brotherhood of Evil in there to fight against the Doom Patrol. So you being able to get all parts of the DC universe in this, and you being able to find the whole DC universe in there. And you also having the Gotham City Sirens to fight against Batman and to connect from that part of the DC new live-action movie universe. And the works from the Flash part of the new DC live-action movie universe. And them being good because it being a supervillain team made out of the Flash's villains specifically, and the blue-collar criminals. They just want to rob banks. They don't want to take over the world or anything. And you also showing different parts of being a villain and show how they're different from the other villains. And the Pharaoh 5, so you having a Legion of Superheroes in there, and the Monsters Society of Evil to connect to the Marvel family in there. And because they were the first supervillain team in comic books, because they were the first supervillain team made out of Pacific Superheroes Rogues Guy, even before the Rogues did it in the Flash's Rogues Guy. It is also one of the best things Captain Marvel's villains Mr. Mind did. And a dark version of the supervillain teams to fight against Justice League Dark usually. And you should also have the crime champions in there, so you're having all the supervillains in the DC universe in there.